Well, hello there, and welcome to the Dana Spencer Show, where we talk about solving problems, building relationships, quitting corporate, and the freedom to walk in our God given purpose. So, how are we feeling out there? I hope you have had an opportunity to get outside. You've got the activity of your limbs. This is the day that the Lord hath made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And I hope you are super glad today. Now, normally I am joined by someone that I'm going to interview, but today, you know what? I am fresh off of watching the Holiday Bowl last night with the University of Louisville as well as USC of California. And as I was watching the game, I was like, there are some amazing life lessons in this game. So that's what we're going to talk about today, the 10 lessons from the Holiday Bowl 2024. And the first lesson that I want us to pull out, and these are in no particular order, but the first lesson is energy. You know what? I didn't really believe that energy is a gift. And I'm still up in the air. You can put in the comments whether or not you think energy is a gift, but energy, you see the energy from each team. And then when things happen, energy can fluctuate, but throughout the majority of the game, the energy definitely was with USC. And can you get energy? Can you manufacture energy? Or once you've lost it, then it's just gone forever. So I just had to pull out the fact that the energy and energy is so important in terms of winning and losing. So definitely get your energy meter out to figure out, what you need to do in order to get your energy up to be able to be a contender in whatever it is in your life, but definitely bring the energy. And then I know there's introverts versus extroverts, and introverts typically are able to manage their energy better than extroverts. And you probably can get the feel that I am an extrovert. And I definitely try to work on managing my energy. If I'm around, a lot of introverts, I try to, not match their energy, but I definitely try to tone it down. But energy is so important, especially with athletics. I've been to several games at the University of Louisville, and the energy is just electrifying. And so you definitely can feel energy, and it's important to have energy. So number one is energy. Energy is super duper important. And then secondly, it's important, who wants to win the most? You have to, every single play, do you want to win? Does it show how much you want to win? Are your actions going along with the fact that, you know what, I really want to win this game? I'm playing hard. I'm doing my best. I'm making unselfish moves because why? I want to win the game. So at the end of the day, whoever wants to win the game the most typically is the winner. It's not necessarily the most talented, but it's definitely the one on this day who wants it the most, who's going to dig deep into their, I almost said bag of tricks, but who's going to dig down the deepest and the grit and the emotion and the energy, like who is going to pull out all of the stops in order to get the win. And so it's just very, very important to make sure that who wants to win the most, and typically that can show. And then thirdly, fundamentals are so important. We can't get away from fundamentals, wrapping up your guys when you're tackling, the balls that are slipping through your hands that you could have caught, were you distracted? Did you not have focus? I mean, there's so many details that go along with that. But at the end of the day, working on the fundamentals is so important, whether that's in your everyday life, whether, it's the sports, but fundamentals are critical. I think about volleyball, the ability to bump the ball and to spike it and to serve. Like the fundamentals are so important in every single sport. With basketball, dribbling and, being able to shoot and the layups, just the fundamentals. If you can get really, really good with the fundamentals, chances are you will go far. And don't forget the fundamentals, because that is what is going to help you to get to the next level. Fundamentals are so very, very important. And then fourth, halftime adjustments. Like whether you're up, whether you're down, when you get that break at halftime, What adjustments are you going to make in life? We get to like stop and take a time out. We're about to cross over to 2024, Lord willing. And it's almost like we get a new year. And what adjustments are we going to make? Are we going to look at 2023 and evaluate our lives and see what we accomplished, and then look to 2024 and think about what adjustments do we need to make? What do we even want to do? I will be the first to admit I typically have not been a goal setter. I'm not the person. A friend of mine in college, my roommate, she was always setting goals. And I was the one like, you know what? I'm not going to set goals because guess what? I never keep them. But what I found is that I don't create a plan. Like if you don't create a strategy and you just have a goal, then that's just a dream, right? So when you're creating those goals, make sure along with, saying what you want to do, that you actually have a strategy to implement those goals. And I believe the strategy is probably the most important part, because let's say writing a book. So I've written a book. What happened? I realized whenever I create a strategy in order to accomplish the goal, guess what? That goal gets accomplished. I set out to write a book. I set out to have the outline and the everything written to the publisher by June the 30th. I said I was going to write a chapter every single day. And guess what? I was early, and not only did I meet the deadline, but I turned in what she needed early. Why? Because I created a strategy along with the goal. So make sure in terms of making those halftime adjustments in life, stop, take a time out, and evaluate where you are, where you've been, and be grateful. A lot of times, and just this morning, when I was praying, I felt myself just asking the Lord for things. And I was like, you know what? Thank you, Lord, for what you've already done for me. And I just felt this gimme, gimme, gimme spirit. And so I had to stop myself and, tell the Lord that I apologize for being ungrateful for where I'm at today. So let's definitely take time out to praise the Lord for what we have, and then, evaluate and then make those halftime adjustments as necessary. And then fifthly, don't get frazzled. Even if you're down, don't get frazzled. The other team can sometimes get you out of your game, and that happens in life. There's other people there's people that, they just get under your skin, right? And don't let those people frazzle you. If you have to kind of avoid them, then do what you have to do to make sure you stick with your game. I'm doing the plank challenge, and it's so crazy that I have to have everything perfectly set up. I have to make sure that I do everything exactly right. And then I had to realize, you know what? I want to be able to just drop and do a 5-minute plank at any time, any situation. So I had to start getting out of my comfort zone and just really focusing in on what I'm doing so that I don't get distracted. So make sure that you don't get frazzled by the things that are happening, especially the things that you do not have control over. Focus in on doing what you need to do, whether that's your defensive tackle or a quarterback or a kicker, whatever your role is. Make sure that you don't allow outside forces to get you frazzled and distract you from accomplishing what your role is to participate and be that great team player that we know that you are. And then I wrote down, roll out of the pocket. Don't just sit in your situation. A lot of times when we're using this analogy with the Holiday Bowl. When you think about with the quarterback, you snap the ball, and then I can't imagine what it's like being a quarterback, right? You have these people coming, rushing at you, and you're trying to throw the ball, or you're trying to scan the field and figure out where to throw. And I mean, it's an amazing skill set to be able to roll out of the pocket and not just stand there and get sacked. It looks like it's just so hard to do. And I commend all of the quarterbacks in their role and their ability to not get frazzled and to, roll out of the pocket and go left and go right and just do these things. And so in life, don't just sit in your situation. roll out of the pocket, do something different, try something new, pivot out, right? Don't just sit in your current situation, especially if you're in a situation that is not favorable, you're in a bad relationship, whatever the case may be. Don't just sit and soak and sour. Figure out, you know what? Hey, look up field, like look up, look around you. What else can you do in order to change your situation? Get some new information, get some new friends. Like, don't just sit in your situation, don't just sit in the pocket. Roll out and roll out of that situation that you're in if it's not favorable to what you're trying to accomplish. And then, oh my goodness, be prepared. The preparation, just think, Miller Moss was the second string quarterback. That blew my mind because I started watching the game a little bit late. That completely blew my mind. I was like, thank goodness we didn't have the first string quarterback in there. No shade on the first string quarterback. But wasn't that not amazing? The fact that he was the second string quarterback and came in and had that phenomenal game. Like, it was unbelievable. And it made me think in my own life, how prepared am I for when situations come up? I don't know when he found out that he was going to play in the game, but here's the thing, that was not 2 weeks worth of preparation. That was years of practicing and not necessarily knowing if you were going to start or not, but knowing the plays, and it was incredible. And so applying that to your own personal life, how prepared are you for opportunity? If opportunity were going to knock on your door today, are you prepared? And then I was thinking about this in terms of your record. And I might be jumping ahead of myself, but it doesn't matter what your record is. It doesn't matter what you've been through. Nothing matters. But today, who wants to win the most? Who is the most prepared? Is it easier or harder? And drop this in the comments. Is it easier or harder to prepare for a game if you are the favorite versus the underdog? Think about that. In terms of, when you're preparing for the game, wouldn't you have wanted to be a fly on the wall with USC versus the University of Louisville? Just out of curiosity, how did you prepare for the game? Did you go over the plays? I know you watch films, and how much time did you spend watching films versus, practicing? And I mean, there was just so much that you had to do, so much that you had to prepare for. And so with you in life, are you preparing to the best of your ability? Are you preparing enough to get the job done and to accomplish the goal? So definitely be prepared. That probably was the biggest lesson from the game for me, is that how Miller Moss was able to just come in and just dominate, and that he wasn't even the starter. He was the second string. So for us, let's make sure that we are doing what we need to do in order to prepare for that big opportunity, so that when it comes our way, we can crush it, right? So definitely make sure that you are prepared. And then the belief system. Obviously, USC had an unbelievable belief that they could win. Like, what did their coach tell them? How did he hype them up so that they had this, you know what? It doesn't matter what we've done in the past. All that matters is right now and how hard we play. And in your life, what is your belief system? Mindset is everything. What you believe about what you can accomplish changes the game. If you don't believe that you can win, if you don't believe you can invest in real estate, if you don't believe you can start your own business or make it to the next level, whatever it is, if you don't have that belief system, then guess what? It's not going to happen. And, we can talk about exposure. We can talk about so many things, but at the end of the day, if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't believe in the players that you have around you, if you don't believe in your coaches, if you don't have a belief that the coaches are going to give you the plays in order to help you to win, if there is no belief, then chances are you're not going to win the game. So what is your belief system? And then what are some things that you can do in order to change your belief? Well, what you put in. I'm all about your input. In order to change your output, you have to change your input. You have to change what is going in your mind in order to get different results. It's insanity for you to think that you're going to get different results doing the same things over and over and over again. So definitely, but we know that repetition and the fundamentals are important, but in terms of your belief, do you believe that you can win? Do you believe you can achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve in life? So your belief system is so very important. And then your record. I definitely touched on this a little bit, but your record. It doesn't matter what your record is going into the game. I believe the University of Louisville was 10-3, and then I believe USC was 7-5. And it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you did in the past, what your record was. All that matters is right now, the game that is in front of you. And when we think about life, it doesn't matter what you've been through. I know that, you could potentially have scars and, carrying that baggage, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. All that matters is right now. So make sure you are handling your right now to the best of your ability so that regardless of your record, whether that's criminal or not, regardless of that record, that you can accomplish what needs to be accomplished because yesterday doesn't matter. Yesterday is gone. All you have is today. Are you doing the most with your today? And then number 10, take ownership for what happens. Everything is a learning experience. So just like I was watching the game and went from watching the game to, hey, what are the life lessons that we can learn from this particular game? And so take ownership. A lot of times, and I didn't see this in terms of anybody blaming anyone else, but a lot of times what happens is we want to blame our parents, we want to blame our coaches, we want to blame our trainers, we want to blame everybody else instead of taking ownership for what we did and how we had an impact on the game or in life. A lot of times, even in life, you have children who are blaming their parents for not exposing them to what they needed to expose them to, or not getting the trainers, or not doing whatever. But at the end of the day, we have to take ownership for our actions and how we didn't or did not show up, whether it's a game, whether it's a job interview, whatever the situation may be. So those are our top 10 lessons from the Holiday Bowl 2024. I hope you can start to look at things differently. Everything is a life lesson. And I don't know if it's just me or it's just me in terms of just learn from your experiences. And even in everyday life, ask yourself, what lesson can I learn from this experience? Because if you're not getting the lesson, then chances are God is going to have to repeat that situation over so that you can get the lesson that He wants you to learn. So I hope this was helpful to you. I so enjoyed the game and I enjoyed the lessons that I was able to glean, and I hope you were able to glean from these lessons as well. So that's all I got for you. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Dana Spencer Show. Until next time, be prepared.